Hi guys. So Amy and I have had a wonderful show for the last half an hour.
Shit.
Before I clicked the live button, I'm so sorry. Thank goodness I saw you guys in the chat talking. Phil C, thank you for helping me figure it out. I did the intro. It was awesome. Amy had lots of great information. Okay, we'll do a abbreviated version and catch everybody up. But okay. Oh Lord have mercy. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God. And we're not even drinking. And this is what you get.
I know, it's terrible.
I mean, we're completely
It's
sober.
still
We can't
early.
even do
Yes.
we can't even do the show.
Oh gosh.
All right,
so
you
sorry.
guys. We just had probably one of the most truth bomb shows of all times, and it was just Lisa
awesome.
and I. It was just the two of us.
And it didn't record even at all.
And it didn't even record. So are we live? Is everything happening right now?
It says we are live for 1 minute now. So
oh my God, you guys, I'm so sorry. Lisa and I just went through so
much. We'll do it again though. We'll do it. An abbreviated version.
Okay. Yeah. So long story short here with Lisa and I.
I can't believe I did that.
Oh God, forgive these two girls, please. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. All right. So this is called anyway. Three things we're going to be talking about today, you guys. I don't normally talk about cryptocurrency, but we have a three-pronged deal today. We got some what I consider to be some of the most important cryptocurrency news that's come down in years. Number two, we have financial collapse information that has not really been telegraphed before. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we've got my favorite and beloved. I'm the poster child for Maricopa County, that, recount situation that we all know and love. Mm-hmm. So the reason I'm doing these three things is in the past, they've been kind of separate line item events. Well, now with the acceleration of everything that's happening, everything is coming together, you guys, and everything touches everything else. So I can't segregate stuff anymore because it's like this is affecting this is affecting that. And therefore, I kind of have to bring you in to what's really going on. And I am a holder of cryptocurrency. I am a lover of cryptocurrency. I'm obsessed with cryptocurrency. And I found this tweet last night by Raoul Paul, who is the CEO of World Vision. Now, he is like a Michael Saylor type guy. He's like a Max Kaiser type guy. He's in the crowd with Plan B, Willy Woo. He's kind of at that level. A highly respected person. So if you're not following him, you might be interested in what he had to say. I stumbled across his tweet last night. This tweet recaptures how important what happened the past 2 weeks in cryptocurrency. And you guys know what I'm talking about. All of us watched 50% of our portfolios evaporate when Bozo Musk decides to, his fingers, he can't control his fingers. And so he started the whole avalanche, which I am convinced was
I think that was a cover up. I think that was a cover up for what I think it's the big money. I think it was a slam down. I think it was trying to pop the Bitcoin bubble, and they use Elon as a cover so that it wasn't so obvious that, because if you go back, I did this on last week. I did it one day, I think with Public, and then again with Johnny. I went into CoinGecko or whatever and looked at the charts. It all happened Wednesday the 19th at 9 a.m. or between 8 and 9 a.m. Like 15, 20 minute window, everything gets slammed down. Like Theta, Bitcoin, Litecoin, coins that had nothing, Shiba, Doge, had nothing to do with each other. Everything gets slammed down at the same time. It was completely manipulated. So I think they just had Elon tweet that out to
Get the ball rolling.
Be part of it, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
and he's
just
such an influencer. He has so many followers that, if friggin' Jerome Powell tweets, no one's going to pay attention. And we know Sleepy Joe, I don't know, does he have 2 followers on Twitter?
I saw one time that he got 1,000 views on a video. So somebody was watching.
So, okay. So the reason I wanted to talk about this, you guys, is because by now we all know that the slam down in cryptos was a 3-prong attack by the elites and the wealthy, because they want to get Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, all the blue chips, and some of the non-blue chips, like, I don't know if you call Theta blue chip, but anyway, they want coins on sale. They know where this is going. And they knew that they could shake out the weak hands. Okay, we got that. We know that's not news to anybody that's watching this show. But what has not been talked about was this tweet that Raoul Pal said, and I want to go through this because this shows that crypto is, yes, Phil C., then China. Exactly. China was involved in, yes.
Just the whole crew.
The whole crew.
all the mean girls.
Yeah, because China's thing has been around since 2017. That was not new. That was just rehashed old news. So this information here, the reason why I think it is newsworthy for Lisa and I is it encapsulates the Trojan horse that Bitcoin and the blockchain truly is. And for those of you that are still working with no coiners and your friends and family that are saying, oh, well, it went down 50% and it's not regulated, or listening to the mainstream media rhetoric and lies, understand it's a ploy to get you to sell your Bitcoins at a loss to them.
Because you have to remember there's already contracts for miners for years in advance of what Bitcoin they're going to mine. There is no Bitcoin to buy. There's everyone's holding theirs. The Grayscale's locking theirs up. Even PayPal's locking up what people are buying on PayPal. They don't allow you to take it off. So these big institutions are holding their Bitcoin, and the little guys are buying it. And those of us that have been here long enough are holding it because we know that I don't care what dollar they say it's worth. I know it's worth 1 Bitcoin. And so I'm not going to sell my Bitcoin. I don't care if it's 60 grand one day and 30 the next. I'm holding it because and I think that's an important part. This is part of the revaluation of our currency and our value as well. So,
and you guys I would say hold on to this tweet if you like it, because as you're talking to uneducated people who are going to give you what they're hearing from MSN about, oh, it's unregulated, oh, it's dangerous. And then, a Jerome Powell comes out and he starts lying, saying, he's building the case for the US digital dollar, which is not crypto. And he's muddying the waters. They're trying to confuse the no coiners and the mass population. So if you have those people in your life, I'm going to go through this because in my opinion, this here is the single most important thing going on in crypto right now. And it shows that Bitcoin and our blockchain is the Trojan horse that's going to keep the whole monetary system going when it collapses. Because guess what, you guys? It's not if it collapses, it's when. And we'll get to that next. So anyway, Lisa, let me pull mine up again. Now, this is 2 times today we've done this.
I was going to say, I could read it this time.
Okay. All right. So this is what he says. Something to get your head around. Okay. Headline. He's giving the headline. Now, this is like the headlines from the news. A major asset class crashed 42% in 14 days, wiping out 1.2 trillion in value in an orgy of liquidation of people up to 100 plus leveraged with very low regulation. Many tokens fell up to 70%, including unregulated lending and borrowing biz. That's the mainstream media narrative. Notice the words, an orgy of liquidation, leveraged, unregulation. They pick these words to scare you to death.
Yes.
Now, then Raoul Pal says, beneath the headline, crypto had a major VAR shock test and nothing happened. Now, a VAR shock test, I think, is like some kind of banking stress test. Leverage liquidation was offset by over collateralization. That means that people that have collateralized loans against their crypto over collateralized so they didn't get margin calls. They weren't hurt. No one was left holding the baby. No firm went under. There was no Lehman moment. The Fed didn't need to step in. DeFi didn't break and carried on near normal. There was no daisy chains of collateral losses. Stable coins remained stable. A few exchanges went down for an hour or two. No exchange big losses occurred. No need to mutualize losses either. No protocol failed. No firms needed rapid funding. No one had open-ended losses. The system didn't break. It offered zero systemic risk to the broader financial world. Speculators lost money, and that is it. This is what I first saw in crypto back in 2012, a new anti-fragile financial system that doesn't break in times of stress, where ownership of assets is clear and losses are not mutualized to taxpayers. This was a big 2 weeks for crypto and for the future financial system.
I think that he really lays this out beautifully. I love that you found this, and I saw this playing out real time. I was watching Celsius. Is a lot of my friends are involved in Celsius and have loans through them, and so they loan their Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, and then they get a USD loan. And because of the drop in value, Celsius sent out a message and said, "Hey, please make sure you check your messages. You may need to."
Right.
Put more crypto in, I guess is what they mean, so that we don't have to liquidate your crypto or do a margin call to liquidate your crypto. And then they made an announcement and said once it started going back up, they were like, everybody got through it, no problem, no losses. We didn't have any margin calls at all. It worked.
Yeah.
It didn't break.
Yeah. I had the same situation. I'm working with a company and I'm not representing them. I don't make any money from them. Unchained Capital. I have a very tiny leverage loan because I just kind of wanted to try it out. And they too sent me a series of beautiful emails saying, listen, this is not a margin call, but Bitcoin's very volatile right now. Please go in and look at your account ratio so you can be on call in case you want to deposit more Bitcoin. So then they sent me a nice little link. I clicked on it. I sent over a little bit more Bitcoin just so I could be conservatively
in that
collateralized.
safe space. Yeah.
And then they wrote me back and said, hey, Amy, we got your Bitcoin, because you can see it right there in the software. And the guy was so nice. He's like, listen, you didn't need to send over more. We think you're extremely conservative, good job or whatever. So what I'm saying is I was far. This worked better than any loan I could get out of Bank of America. So you guys, this tweet, to me, this is the first stress test since I've been in crypto, which is 4 years now. A 50% drop has only happened, I think, 2 to 3 other times that Willy Woo or Plan B have documented. I think 3 times Willy Woo talked about it since 2011, where Bitcoin dropped I think it was actually 53% at one moment. And so this is a very, very small event. It doesn't happen often, but what a beautiful thing. And the taxpayers aren't on the hook. We're not printing money. We didn't have a Lehman moment. And quite frankly, if you're a leveraged trader and you're going to play that game, well, put your big boy pants on when you get liquidated, but don't come to the taxpayers asking them to bail you out because you want to go gamble with your cryptos.
Absolutely.
So
it's just really exciting. I just think this was the test. And then in the article that you sent me that we were going to go to next, it's the same as far as an attack or a stress. They try to knock down crypto 50% or more, and the system didn't break. We know if they did that to the central banking system, which is what they are doing by printing to infinity, it won't be able to sustain. And they are coming to the people, and the money is coming out of the people's pockets.
Absolutely, Lisa. And here's the deal, you guys, in this article, the World Economic Forum had a meeting last November. This is not if. This is not an if, guys. This is a when the financial system collapses. They are telegraphing to us. You guys have to read this article. At this event, this is the elites. These are the people that are running our money. And who was there? Well, we had the Financial Services Information Sharing and Analysis Center, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, the World Economic Forum, Carnegie Endowment. All of these people were at this event. And what they did was they talked about they're preparing for a cyber attack to bring down the whole financial system. That's in this article. Well, guys, right before COVID, right before the infection, this same organization talked about an infection being spread globally. They're telegraphing this, you guys, to us right here, right now.
Yeah, they're definitely putting it in our face.
They're putting it in our face. So you should read this, because they're basically saying they're going to use a cyber attack to bring down the financial system. And the elites, the central bankers, all the upper people that are running our system, they're right here in this article, and they're planning and preparing. So this was something I wanted to bring to your attention, because we kind of get in a false sense of security since the election. I know I have. We haven't had a lot of civil unrest. The banks haven't collapsed. I've been talking about the banks collapsing since 2016. Everyone I know is so sick of hearing it from me. And so I just said, well, maybe it's not going to happen. The Fed is going to print so much money that they are just going to hold this thing together with spit and glue till time immemorial. And here I found this, and I was like, dude, they're telling us.
They're telling us. And I don't know if this is going to be the 10 days of darkness. Also, I had that thought. And what was the other I posted, there's a Vedic astrologer, VJ Jyotish, that I posted on my Patreon that just did a timeline. And he believes that Mr. T will be back like a lion in August. And I heard Bannon slipped and announced and said something about him being back August 15th. So I don't know if that's going to be a date that comes to fruition or not. But I also heard that there's going to be some violence the end of June, mid to the end of June. So I think it's coming. I think they're going to have to show everybody what the plan was. But
okay, so now we're adding 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 here. We have a staged event to drop the cryptocurrency market cap by 50%. So the elite can pick up cryptos on the cheap. Then they turn around and then they buy off the mainstream media to bash cryptos as unsafe, as unregulated. They float out Janet Yellen. They float out Jerome Powell. They're on CNN. They're on MSNBC saying, oh, how dangerous cryptos are. They're so volatile. They're unregulated. And they're then on the back end, they're on the phone with their over-the-counter guy going, did you get it at 33,000? Did you get it at 33,000? I mean, this is how these creeps operate. I'm telling you, they're
and then the next day, Powell's out telling everyone that cryptocurrencies might be the answer, but he's talking about digital currencies, the centralized digital currencies. And so it's it's this whole, like Uncle in this article that you sent, it says not a question of if, but when malicious actors are taking advantage of this digital transformation and pose a growing threat to the global financial system. So they're playing it out. They're telling people, don't freak out when it goes down. We know it's going to. In Cyprus in 2012, I believe that was the test set, and people ran to Bitcoin. And so I think if you're into cryptocurrency right now, you're going to have a lot of phone calls from friends trying to figure out what to do and how they can try to save some of their wealth or value.
And you guys, and I know you guys, Lisa, your audience knows this, but when you're talking to no coiners and people that don't understand that are asleep, they're going to say, well, what good is cryptocurrency going to do me if the grid goes down? That's not when you're using your cryptos, guys. Your cryptos are for when the grid goes back up. That's when it's gun time and it's gold and silver time and it's Hunger Games time.
Well, and the reality is that you can send cryptos over a ham radio. They can be sent over radio waves. They just launched how many? They just launched satellites, and Bitcoin can be exchanged via satellite right now. So that the grid's going to go down, and what good is my Bitcoin does not fly. It's not a valid argument at all.
Right. And this is just something that, again, as you're hearing, as the space is growing, as I'm watching, CNN, they ask these questions. It's so insulting. I feel so sorry for Michael Saylor. I mean, he gets on these shows and he's such a brilliant man, and he's got to put up with these first grade questions. I mean, all these mainstream media people that do what do they call these anchor people? They don't even know what they're talking about. And they ask this man who is like the CEO of Bitcoin, and he just has to sit there and answer these dumb questions. It's like, please, at least study up on what you're asking one of the smartest men in the cryptocurrency space. So, I mean, it's really ridiculous.
But I think that shows how much we really don't have reporters anymore, critical thinkers. They're given a script and they're told, sit there, answer, read they read about as well as Haydn, and they don't critically think for themselves. They're not on their toes having a conversation. They're just doing what they're told,
Right. And again, I know, Lisa, for your audience are in a 1% elite. Most of your audience has cryptos and metals. So I'm kind of preaching to the choir, but I got into a very false sense of security after the election, thinking, the banks may not crash. The Fed is going to prop this thing up, and we're just going to kind of bumble along till we hit hyperinflation, and the mass adoption of cryptos. And that could still happen too. But when I saw this last report from the the World Economic Forum, that's George Soros. That's all the guys. They're telegraphing. They're basically saying it's going to be a cyber attack that's going to bring the system down. And then it's going to be look here, don't look there, because they're going to say that that's the reason to usher in digital currency where everybody gets tracked. So they're using that event to bring in. So this is why
he talked about it on that Jerome Powell thing. He was talking about bringing in FedNow, which is the instead of the SWIFT system, it's FedNow,
right?
And that is the settlement processing, so that payments will process immediately. What also makes them all run through. I mean, it's like having a parent who holds your money. They're turning us all into children. We're having our wealth and our freedom with that taken away.
Right. And by the way, you guys who hold cryptos, kudos to you, because Goldman Sachs comes out yesterday and says, we're going to start offering cryptos to our clients. And then they say it's the accredited investors, which in order to be accredited investors, you've got to have a minimum of a net $1 million of money that basically you can lose to be an accredited investor. So therefore, they're cutting out the deplorables, okay, as our friend, who calls us, and that the little guy is not eligible because we're not smart enough.
Right. So the retail,
the retail is not smart enough. So what I'm telling you guys is this crypto thing is going to the elite. And those that have diamond hands, this was so, at first when it happened, I was so freaked out over the crash. But then as I started to get education and I started to listen and read, and I wouldn't sell no matter what. But the point is it's so obvious what they're doing. It's in our face, you guys. And if you see it, then you have a shot at navigating around it. And that's why I want to give you some information as I get it, because things are happening fast. And when it comes down, you can't be having a knee-jerk reaction. You just can't.
Definitely not. And as they kind of shook this out and we held our one Bitcoin, as they said it was worth, this Charlie Lee was tweeting about Michael Saylor. So you got like two giants there. He said, I see this as an overall good thing. It will help it defeat the energy FUD. Yes, this is kind of like a mining cartel, but the difference between this and OPEC is that Bitcoin mining is permissionless. Anyone, anywhere can mine Bitcoin without needing permission from this cartel. So Saylor was pleased to host a meeting between Elon and the leading Bitcoin miners in North America. The miners have agreed to form the Bitcoin Mining Council to promote energy usage, transparency, and accelerate sustainability initiatives worldwide. So they're going to get rid of that whole, Bitcoin costs too much to mine. Meanwhile, you're using energy that's from oil and gas. So I think that's a very positive thing. Just one little crypto.
Right. So, this is what Lisa and I were talking about. I was also saying that I think that we're really fortunate, you guys, to be in a space where we have really, really good people like Michael Saylor, like Raoul Paul, like Max Kaiser, all of these different figureheads. It's almost like a group where we can get information in times of stress, and it was time of stress. And as far as I'm concerned, Bitcoin and cryptos, yeah, they took a hit, but you know what? They held up like a rock star. They had the ultimate stress test, and you can feel good now that you own something that can prove itself under stress.
Yeah. And here's another thing, we know that they're talking about the possible cyber attacks, and, they're talking about bringing their digital currencies in. The other thing that's significant is that 36%, this is how much the gold price has moved up since we last mentioned Basel III in this article from April 2019. We projected then that it would move up in price steadily over time as we got closer to full implementation of these international banking accords. In actuality, the price has moved up over an average of 1.35% per month since then, yielding 5-year CD account pays an interest for a full year. While full implementation of the Basel III rules have just been pushed back until January 1, the largest players in the gold market, USA, Switzerland, EU nations, have targeted June 21 by the date which they plan to be in compliance. This shift in behavior implies that significant changes in the precious metals market lie just ahead, with famed commodities trader Andrew Maguire calling for $500 boost for silver over the next 20 weeks. So basically, this is new rules for banks that previously banks gold or silver on their balance sheets, they were only allowed to account for, I think it's half. It was only valued at 50% of the reserve purposes. Basel III considered a tier 3 asset to being considered a tier 1, which allows physical gold in bullion form to be counted at 100 reserve purposes. So if they all of a sudden, where banks could only claim what they were holding, and actually they had to claim the other as a loss, now they're going to be able to claim it as 100%. Well, what are they going to do to offset this dying fiat? Gold is going to go through the roof. Mm-hmm. They're going to value that gold way more. So this Basel III, and they've, like I said, it's technically not supposed to kick in till January 2022. Largest players are saying they're targeting June 28th, 2021. We're a month away.
And Lisa, maybe this has something to do with, we're at the 25th. In 3 days, Congress is pulling in all the banks to have a hearing. They're not really telling them what it's about. And they're having some big financial powwow. Now, it could result in nothing. I don't know. But that's awfully interesting, because if that's a month before this Basel III kicks in, I'm wondering if there's some kind of they might.
Well, and Amy, they're saying they will be in compliance by, so have adjusted their balances before that targeted date.
Right. I've got to plug in my computer. It's about to go dead. I didn't
Well,
realize.
that's because we're going an extra hour and a half because
Yeah,
I didn't start the broadcast.
I didn't realize I didn't have it
It's all my
plugged.
fault. Uh-oh, now I can't hear you for some reason. Oh, your microphone's muted.
Okay, how's that?
I
Can
think
you hear
you're
me?
back. Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
good. All right. So, all these
This
things
is
are
more
happening.
revaluing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, all these things are happening now, you guys, and it's happening really fast. So the information is coming out fast. It's harder and harder to get this information. And our financial system is about to undergo such a radical change. And you guys, I know, can wrap your head around it. In order to avoid chaos, we're going to have to do some hand holding for people that don't know what's going on.
There's going to be a lot of questions. I think even the gold revaluing, that will just, people won't understand
Right.
why and how that happened. And,
Right.
Even when you go into the printing of money, but then it moving from that tier 3 to the tier 1 asset class, that's an exponential game changer.
Yes.
So
yes. Yeah. And why are they doing that? Well, maybe this is one step going back to hard sound money. I mean, I'm telling you one thing, these central bankers are not stupid. They may be nefarious bad players. Yeah, but they're not stupid. And this has been planned since 1913. And the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, G. Edward Griffin's book, lays it all out like nobody's business about what happened. And that was the beginning of what we're seeing now. This is a 100+ year journey, and it's all happening in front of us now. The question is when does the actual collapse happen? I was on a podcast today, listening to a podcast with a really smart banker in London who said it could be any moment between now and 2023 or 2024, but they're thinking sooner. And this will be a targeted bring down of the financial system. It is planned, it is orchestrated. They want to usher in the digital dollar so they can control and know where every penny is spent. I don't know what they're going to do with the privacy coins, Lisa, with Mimblewimble on Litecoin, Monero. How are they going to deal with those privacy coins?
They're not, and they can't. It's like making, well, I guess the central bank would have a problem with it. There's just, other than, I guess, having silver in your own possession, and then doing those peer-to-peer exchanges. So
yeah, we'll figure it all out as we come. But the collapse is going to come, you guys. I thought it wasn't. I was hopeful. When, I do not know. But don't let this last crypto drop freak you out. They did it on purpose so they could get it in their paws cheap. And they knew that if you're uneducated, you're going to panic sell. And they knew people were over leveraged, and they liquidated all those people out of the system. Those people will never come back. They are out. They're out of gunpowder. They're done. So
it's the same thing they did, to the Americans, to bring in their precious metals, why? For them to have, that's another thing. I was listening to, I believe it was Dave from X22 on BitChute, and he was talking about how he used to go into the bank when his kids were little, and he'd order, I don't know how many pennies, and then the kids would find, the ones or dimes or whatever, and they would kind of, hunt through those and see if they could find any of the ones with more precious metals in them, whatever. And he said, so he thought he'd try it again. He went to the bank recently and he ordered a whole case of pennies, and he said they were all brand new, shiny zinc pennies, not a single old copper penny. Last summer, right? When we had the coin shortage because of the infection, the banks were pulling all of that coin and taking the precious metals out of the coinage to save the precious metals, to try to bring more resources into the banks.
Right.
And then now the Fed has reprinted all these worthless, shiny zinc pennies. I just thought that was really interesting because I was like, why? This isn't even making sense. There's not a coin shortage. What are they talking about? Well, now we know what they were doing. They were pulling the precious metals out of the market, the constitutional money that had precious metals in it. And then they're reissuing this junk.
Fake.
That they can be fake junk that they can say is worth whatever they say it's
Yeah,
worth.
I mean, if you're a citizen, Lisa, and you counterfeit money, you go to jail. But the government can do it, and they don't go to jail.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like, we got to take our own sovereign back in our own hands. And that's what's happening right now with crypto. And it's very exciting. And we're on the leading edge, you guys. I mean, we're the pilgrims, we're landing on Plymouth Rock. We are experiencing this. We are on the leading edge, and we're taking the body blows right now. And the past 2 weeks in crypto was a body blow. Now, if you were able to buy on the cheap, God bless you and congratulations. I know people that did. I didn't have enough fiat on the side. So I wasn't able to, but I just held through. I mean, that's what I do. So this is the way that we can vote with our hands, our diamond hands.
Yeah. And so one of the things I'm doing, Cliff High and encouraged by Bix Weir, is to start an effort called Bet on Main Street. And Uncle Cliff talks about this. And I asked him, Bix, I got all excited at the Arizona thing and was talking about telling everybody bet on Main Street and tip your waiters and waitresses big and be generous. And, we've been blessed to be in this, and be silver holders and be crypto holders. And we're going to be very wealthy because of that. And with that, then we can take that power, our energy, our wealth, and we can vote with it that way by putting it where we want to. And so I really want people to get behind this Bet on Main Street thing. I've got Jim Flanagan helping me build an app. I've got another lady who's donating her talents as a graphic designer. She's going to do a logo for us. I have been invited to speak at the Red, White, and Blue Patriot Rocks conference or concert, whatever it is. It's like a whole weekend thing at Mount Rushmore for 4th of July. And I'm going to be pushing that and Operation Sunlight, which we talked about the last couple weeks, where you can have these tangible things. If we feel like that our voice was stolen, we have other things we can do that are peaceful and we can still let our voice be known. And that is by betting on Main Street and being a part of Operation Sunlight, emailing those people and getting involved in our county precincts and our voting precincts. So I'm really excited
about. And also,
too,
you guys, if you don't think they're not scared to death of this, they're scared to death of exactly what Lisa's talking about. They are scared to death. And that leads us to, Lisa,
the what if?
The what if. But
or should I do the poll first?
Well, I've got something actually that happened 5 minutes when I was preparing for the show.
Okay.
The last email I sent you, which is the it is
just take me a sec.
Tech company running Arizona ballot recount backs out. And so that was the second to last email I sent you.
Okay.
I want you to open this up because I found when I was preparing for the show, I thought I had all my information. And I came across this election law blog, and it's printed today's date. And so, Lisa, do you have it? Do you need the subject line?
Hold on just a sec. No, I've got it. It's
okay. So basically, to recap, you guys, the count was closed down because at the convention center, they had to have the graduations, so they shut everything down. It just started yesterday again. They brought in double the amount of people to make sure that they could make up for the lost time. So now they have twice as many physical people. Now, back at the pump, we're going to go through this because there's backstory from last week. But this just came out at 12 o'clock this afternoon. And basically, the tech company running the Arizona ballot recount backs out. They were done. So the company that was contracted under Cyber Ninjas basically didn't show up. They're like, we're not coming back. Now, what's really weird about this, you guys, Cyber Ninjas is the security company that's in charge of the cybersecurity for the Recount. They were hired by the Arizona State Senate. The County Board of Supervisors does not want Ninja doing this, okay? They had their own people doing it, were actually tied to the Dominion company. So Karen Fan, who's president of the Arizona State Senate, who is my new hero, said, no, we're going to get our own firm. They got Cyber Ninjas. So they had this company that was subcontracted to Cyber Ninjas. This is very interesting. This just shows you how dirty this dogfight is and how quickly this thing is unraveling. This was today at 12:09 p.m. The Pennsylvania IT company that was in charge of running the hand recount of Maricopa County ballots is no longer involved in the audit. The contract with Wake TSI, now Wake also is part of Cyber Ninjas. The original completion date for the hand count was May 14th. The company chose not to renew its contract, according to Randy Poland, an audit spokesperson and former state GOP heir. They were done. They didn't want to come back. Wake TSI was the subcontractor that developed and oversaw the procedures for recounting the county's nearly 2.1 million ballots, working under Cyber Ninjas, the state mains contractor performing the overall audit of the county's general election results. The audit was on break from May 14th until Monday, which was yesterday, as high school graduations took place in the Coliseum. Poland said that Scottsdale-based audit company Strat Tech Solutions took over Monday running the hand count using Wake's procedures. The company has been involved in the audit since the beginning, Poland said, including helping set up the technology hand count procedures. It's unclear whether the company, which specializes in cybersecurity and other internet technology, has any election or auditing experience. Now, Lisa, I sent you a link to it's right there, Strat Tech Solutions, to their website. I looked them up. They're a basic IT, like a cybersecurity company. They look pretty legit. They're right out of Scottsdale. They literally walked in and took place. But what I'm here to tell you is this is a little odd, and I'll tell you why. When I was running my IT staffing company, we put out some bids for government contracts. When you get a government contract, when you're like Cyber Ninjas, you have to go through this whole RFP, request for proposal process. You don't just like snap your fingers. And when you get those government contracts, you take them seriously. And honestly, a lot of these IT firms, these guys tend to be very good at what they do. These are kind of salt of the earth people. They work hard. They're small companies. They're highly specialized. They're in demand. So they don't normally, this is not normal. Have I seen it before? Yes. But it's not common that they would not renew their contract and continue. So what that's saying to me is they saw something in this audit
that they don't want to be a part of.
Right. Because the lawsuits are flying to Karen Fan, the death threats are flying around, the security detail, who's protecting who. And then I read today through multiple blogs that this could be a rumor, but Cyber Ninjas started to leak out through unauthorized people that there is bamboo. They're running these hand-counted ballots through these machines. They started to pick up bamboo in the paper. And I'm like, bamboo in the paper? This is weird. And
so the paper's different than some of the ballots. So they've been somewhere.
Yes. So they're thinking that these ballots, that they were trucked in from China, like 250,000. And they came from China.
Well, that's not surprising. I mean, we've heard people testify that they weren't folded, that they were supposedly mail-in ballots that are this long and were not folded. So, and we've heard all the stories about the literally trucks coming in. So it's great that it's finally coming out. I can't
Okay,
believe
so
it's been
what
long.
is coming out, you guys? This thing is so dirty. The County Board of Supervisors of Maricopa County, these guys are as dirty and as slimy. They are in full panic mode right now. There is no doubt about it. They are doing everything. They brought in more attorneys since last week. They've got somebody now at a big wig at the Department of Justice that is all over Karen Fann to stop this thing, threatening lawsuits to her, threatening to sue cyber ninjas. They are in full court press panic mode to stop this count. The other thing is when you read the articles. Now, Lisa, I have one article. It was the very first one. What if Arizona count shows? Okay. And then we can go into the what if solution scenario here.
Sure.
This article here is a phenomenal article. Now, I'm going to be really honest about this article. It's a great read. You got to understand the guy that wrote this article is a lefty. The language, and the manipulation, like look at the headline, Lisa. What if the unorthodox Arizona? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this is what they do. They start to say, "Oh, now we're unorthodox." Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
We just
the name
want
calling is
exactly like they're painting the scenario that anybody that wants a recount is an unhinged, unorthodox, anti-vaxxer, right wing. I mean, they're creating a narrative around truth to make it seem like it's wrong. When you read this article, this is damage control, but it's very interesting because although the guy's a lefty, there are facts in this article that point to if it turns out that Trump won, and at the very end of this article, Lisa, if you go to the very bottom, he says that there's going to be, he alluded to like a mushroom cloud, like a nuclear cloud that's going to go off if Trump won. And so then I was talking to Lisa this morning, we were on the phone, and I was like, Lisa, we got to start to talk about like, what if? Because this count's going to be done, guys, in a couple of weeks. Now, when you read this article, and I think you guys might find it's heavy, it's long, and it's filled with details. But the gist of it is that the end runs, this is the ultimate chess game right now. This is the ultimate, and everyone is scrambling for the hills. KYC, it's ugly. It's a dogfight. This is the war right here. Now, as we spoke about before, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Lisa, and what is it, North Carolina?
I believe so. I know Georgia, what I had sent you was they had passed this Election Integrity Act of 2021, and people were talking about this. And I know some of you guys like the number 17 stuff, and 107 has talked about the perfect day, and it starts with a peach pie or peaches, something about peaches, and that's Georgia's thing. And so I kind of feel like I've also heard some rumors that Georgia's following the lead of Arizona. Arizona will be the first domino to fall, and it, like you said, sets precedents. And so then Georgia has already set up the Election Integrity Act. So known as Georgia Senate Bill 202, the Georgia law overhauling elections in the state. It imposes voter identification requirements on absentee ballots, limits the use of ballot drop boxes, expands early in-person voting, bars officials from sending out unsolicited absentee ballot request forms, reduces the amount of time people have to request an absentee ballot, makes it a crime for outside groups to give food or water to voters waiting in line, although poll workers are allowed to. Gives the state legislature great control over election administration and shortens runoff elections, among other provisions, which you've heard. I don't know if you guys have heard, but in the mainstream media, they have twisted this. Like they're not even allowing them to have food or water while they're waiting in line. No, they're not allowing some third party who's got an agenda to bribe people with food and water while they're waiting in line. The poll officials and volunteers are still allowed to offer water and food and whatever. So the bill is part of a broader nationwide push by Republican lawmakers making voting more laws more restrictive following unsuccessful efforts to overturn the victory of the Democratic. Oh, it's so hard to read some of this stuff. Anyway.
I know.
Because the narrative is just so manipulated. But anyway, so
yeah, it is, Lisa.
Yeah, focus particularly on Georgia and several other swing states using false claims of widespread election. Well, anyway.
Yeah. Notice they say
we don't even have to read. Yeah.
So, okay, but let's just look at this for a second. Say you're Joe Schmo reading this and you look at false claims. You're going to say, oh, these are sore losers here. They're sore losers. Who says it's false claims?
Right.
I mean,
we're auditing it to find out if it is one way or the other.
Exactly. Yeah. So since last week to now, the legal heat is being turned up against the Arizona State Senate. Karen Fann, God bless that woman. Pray for her. At this point, you guys, honestly, this is a fight between the light and the dark. She has come forward and openly said that she will fight this to the end, and that everyone who's on the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors needs to go to jail for treason and insurrection, and some of them need to be criminally prosecuted. So those are some strong words from a woman, and I've been watching her. She's very measured. She's extremely professional. She's not emotional. She doesn't run off to her safe space when her little feelings get hurt. She doesn't speak in florally language. She sticks to the letter of the law. And it is in the best interest of the people, because I've been on Arizona State Twitter, and you know how they have those polls and they ask, do you support the audit? Don't you? 80 to 90% of the Arizona citizens support this audit. That's according to those Twitter where you press the poll and you just like, what's your answer? I love those things, because those things are the coolest ever. And people are like, yes, we want this.
Yeah, and this is NBC News article says they did a poll on Republicans, but this says a significant majority of Republicans do not believe Biden's win was fair. Almost 2/3 of Republicans believe that President Biden did not legitimately win, even as more than 6 in 10 Americans overall believe he won. Oh, no, I don't know what she's talking about. Okay, Monmouth University poll. So they polled Republicans. And then the survey conducted just recently, February to March 1st, found that 65% of Republicans believe that Biden win was solely the result of voter effing. And what's more, 29% of Republicans say they will never accept you-know-who as president.
Yeah, right.
The belief in widespread fraud among Republicans persists despite a multitude of probes, intelligence assessments, court rulings that found no evidence, which that is inaccurate. That is not what the court rulings did not show. There was no evidence. They showed no standing. What that means is that the court wasn't even allowed to look at it. And I believe because it was already a military matter. So they just, they just get a little bit right, and then they put in all this disinformation.
Well, this is what I'm finding out too, Lisa. And unless you can really read through the noise, you're going to become a liberal, and Elizabeth Warren's going to be your hero. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you've got to really, now more than ever, you guys, I mean, just to kind of recap here, we have convergence of things. We have a collapsing financial system. We have the death of the US dollar. We have a brand new financial monetary system. We also have a fraudulent cryptocurrency backed by a fraudulent fiat dollar that's happening. We have the possibility. Now, here's the deal. If it turns out that light prevails and truth prevails, mm-hmm. we will know that the real winner of Maricopa County, we already know who the real winner is. What then?
And I think pretty soon. I had heard I was listening to a podcast. I can't remember which one it was. And I thought they said that the count was supposed to end today or tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's delayed. And you know what the court said, Lisa? I did some research.
Oh.
There was originally a time frame on it, and that was put on by the County Board of Supervisors. Then Karen appealed to the courts, the Supreme Court of Arizona, and said, listen, there's 2.1 million. We want a fair and honest count. We don't want this to be done in like a horse race. So the judge sided with her and said, all right, take what time you need to get a fair and honest count. He ruled in favor of her.
Okay.
So that's when they took off the time frame. Originally, the County Board of Supervisors wanted 10 days. They said, we want 10 days. They went to the court. Karen went back and the court said, no, we want a fair count. Let them take as long as 2.1 million is a lot of votes. And then they closed it down for the graduation. So they're estimating now that it's going to be mid-June. So that's where the time frame
would go along. Yeah, that would go along with the timeline.
Right. Right. So here's the thing, you guys, and we're going to wrap up with this thought. And Lisa and I, we can talk about this next show too. Just imagine in your head that the real winner is revealed. Okay. Now, this is going to cause a bomb to go off in our country like none other, because Georgia has already said, whatever Arizona does, we're going down. On the voting Twitter feeds, lots of other states, this thing is being watched like a hawk. People act like it's not important on the mainstream media news. You have no idea how many people on Arizona Twitter feed that I'm on they don't take their eyes off this thing.
Wow.
So this is the center of the earth right now. So if this happens, we're going to have legal precedents. And then all the other states that were swing states that went blue mysteriously, that had always gone red, they're going to jump in.
And I don't know that and I remember, if you follow the 17th letter, they talk about Pennsylvania they talk about something about the Keystone, and the Keystone is important, and Pennsylvania is called the Keystone State. So I don't know if it starts with Arizona, the first domino, and Georgia jumps in, and Pennsylvania is the key what links it, because I'm not sure how many have to actually recount. I don't know that everyone has to recount for this true result to come out. But
now here's the last bit of information in my digging. Guys, don't get into a false sense of security on this. We are constitutionally in unprecedented and uncharted waters. If it turns out that the truth is revealed, the fight is not going to stop there.
Right.
And I think this is going to have to go to the Supreme Court. I think that this is going to upend our Constitution, and the fight is going to get ugly and ugly and ugly. But guess what? This is part of the Great Awakening.
It is, absolutely. And you guys can do something by going to operationsunlight.com. You click start right there, and you just walk through a very simple form, give your information, and they're going to keep you updated with what you can do in your area, in your county. There's a place where they're trying to gather some information. They give you email information that you can just copy and paste. They tell you where to email it to. Then you can collect information and pass it on to Dr. Shiva, where he is compiling all of this. We don't have to sit on our hands. We do not want to get complacent. Like Amy said, this is time where we can do those things. If they stole our VOTE, they can't steal our voice.
Right.
So I think we can do that, and we'll be doing Bet on Main Street here soon. And if anybody wants to help with that, you can email me at lightqueenlisa2@gmail.com. And if you've got skills, technical skills or marketing skills, whatever kind of things that you think might be helpful to that, we're trying to get that up and rolling as quickly as possible so we can launch it for the 4th of July event. So super, super excited about all that. Amy, thank you so much. That was all really great information, and it's moving so fast, like you said. I was like giddy when we were talking on the phone earlier today. I'm really excited. It's really happening, and we all chose to be here right now in this time. So we all have a part to play in it. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap it up, and we will see you guys. Please like and share this video. Let's get this information out. Encourage those patriots, and remember to love one another. Take care, guys.